It's already exciting here. As you can hear this fucker in the background, he's having a good time. Actually, you can hear right now that we're actually at the bar this time. And we tried to fucking bullshit you the last show. And then I realized that I admitted that I got a beer out of the refrigerator. So we obviously were not at the bar, if you caught that.
Got caught in the trap!
Your credibility is gone immediately. So, as you'll find out, we are quite full of shit.
Second show in, man.
Second show in.
Oh, here we are.
We got Prince on right now.
Partying like it's 1999.
We were going to do a 25-second show, but we decided that you deserve better, you deserve more. But we could probably just do 25 seconds, be solid. But, well, let me get to the fucking intro. It's been like a while now. Conversations. I was going to give the address to the fucking bar, but I'm like, nah, fuck it. I'm just going to talk about giving the address to the bar. But, conversations from Morrison Hotel. If you didn't notice from the title, probably if you're on fucking YouTube or iTunes or fucking Johnny Walker's page or JackDaniels.com, wherever you might be. There's people trying to get out the door. We're here at Morrison Hotel in Portland, Oregon. I love how people are just ignoring us too. We're like a fly on the wall right now. But it's Friday night here, and I'm going to explain this for the first few shows, but after a while it's like seems redundant. But we just start on a topic, have a conversation at the bar like we would any other night, and we just let the conversation go as it goes. We might get bothered by drunks or bums or pieces of garbage or whores or cutie pies or elves or giraffes or snakes. We just keep going. We could get nuclear bombs and we would just keep going. My fingers melting. We just drink. But I got Mr. Joshua Abraham back. I know how much you liked him from the last show. By popular demand. Kind of like the president, like, wins by popular vote, but didn't quite win. It's a weird bullshit thing. You get the electoral vote, sort of. Yes, I am full of shit. And, but like I said, co-host, cohort, here he is. Wild Bill's supposed to be in on this one. Got too drunk. Big surprise. But we have a lot more planned. And, you know, I don't like podcasts or radio shows when they have a bullshit at the beginning, but here we are. I mean, you gotta say something else. I think this is way more entertaining. Like, well, I don't want to name names as usual, but there's a certain comedian that I love, but his intro is horrible. He, like, reads the newspaper and shit. And, like, I just skipped to the, like, first five minutes. I'm like, I'm in. But we have a special show coming up because we do have a theme song, and there's a very special man. He's gonna be talking about something special, and he's gonna play the song for you live on the show, and with lyrics probably written by me. And this is not the theme song, by the way, but it's gonna be on a banjo. It's gonna be very exciting. But our topic tonight is Friday night. Any fucking Friday night. This is not 1985, by the way. It's actually 2014. That was abrupt. And our topic tonight, we just decided off the cuff, was classic rock. Do you hear that classic rock? Dude, that bass line? Let's take that in for a minute with that drum. The Eurythmics are here right now. Everyone's so drunk here they don't even notice we have a setup here. It's fucking awesome. But they're like, oh, it's Portland, weird shit happens all the time, you know. But we were going to do a more serious show about past life regressions, but I'm just sleep deprived and feeling kind of crazy. I got a shot of Jack, I got a couple of beers in me. So we need something we can just go off on, you know, like and leather, run us all together. We need that kind of show tonight. Classic rock. What are your thoughts?
Let's keep this train rolling all night long.
Dude, train kept it rolling. That's a good start to some classic rock. Isn't that just like a genesis of classic rock? If you think about it.
Let's do this.
Didn't what's his name? Howlin Wolf. Didn't he do that song originally?
I think so,
way back.
actually. Yeah, we were talking about it the other night. I think Howlin Wolf is the original one.
And then Yardbirds, Aerosmith,
Clapton.
A lot of people covered that song.
Yeah, Aerosmith.
Jeff Beck.
Jeff Beck.
The first I heard of it was Aerosmith.
Yeah, me too. Skate video.
I heard it on an 8-track. And I would try to find cool, like, heavy songs in my dad's collection, because he gave me all of his 8-tracks. And a lot of that stuff kind of sucked, like Styx. Styx on 8-tracks horrible. Like, if you like Styx, it's no offense. It's just like acoustic, trippy songs on acoustic on 8-track are bad. You want to listen to like Kiss or Gary Glitter or like Gloria Gaynor or Donna Summers, like a disco heavy beat. Led Zeppelin sounds like shit on 8-track. I'm not gonna lie. I like Led Zeppelin. What I put on Aerosmith, like I was just like 5 years old, cranking that shit. My God.
It's the guitar. It's the itch and the guitar.
Harmonica or something?
Yeah.
But I watched this movie recently. I don't remember what it was called, but it was a fictitious movie about a fictitious rock band. And a lot of cocaine, a lot of crazy shit went down. But these guys were childhood friends, and they started this band, and then they were on their way out to LA. And this one guy, he had a really good voice, had the personality, could not write a song to save his life. The other guy was more quiet, played guitar, wrote all the songs. So the singer ripped off the guitar player, and he took the songs to the record company and made an album, got huge, was on all these magazine covers, MTV. They were kind of like a Scorpions, like rocking like a hurricane. And but it came time to make the second album, and the guy was like, "Wait a minute, I don't have any songs." So he tricked his friend into coming on the road with him. He's like, "I'm sorry about all that shit." And the guy's like, "You don't have any new songs, do you? You need me." And he's like, "Well, yeah." He's like Johnny Rockstar, and then the other guy is a music teacher. But to make a long story that's getting longer short, they're like brothers. They start fighting and shit. They're banging the same chick, and then they end up in this small town in this motorhome, and Peter Fonda plays kind of their like road manager, and he smokes a lot of pot, drinks a lot. He's like a burnout rocker dude. But they go on a tour of Route 66 to kind of get the idea for songs, and they play shithole bars. And at one point they go to this blues bar. It's only something that would happen in the movie, but it's like a barn, and then there's all black people. And what are you white boys doing here? You're patting leather pants and all that shit. And they're playing blues, up on the stage. And the singer guy is real cocky to the bartender, he's like, "This motherfucker can play some blues." And they're like, "Really?" And then the quiet guy's like, "No, man, shut up. These are like real blues people." And they're like, "No, you're fucking gonna get up and play some blues." And he's like, "Okay, you forced me into it, But so they give him a guitar. He's like, "What do you guys think about this?" Train kept rolling, and this is after they got into a fist fight. And then he's like, "Dude, you gotta come up and sing." And he's like, No. Okay, you forced me." And they just rock and drink these old blues guys, and it made their relationship. They had like a #1 album, but it all came from Train Kept Rolling. I thought that was really cool. It's a perfect song. And the guy the singer was an idiot. He didn't know any music. They had like a game in their motorhome. Whatever came on the radio, you had to guess the song. The singer didn't know any of it. He didn't even know like Heart or Jim Croce. Didn't fucking know it. And they're like, how are you a famous singer? You don't know any fucking songs. And they're like, fuck you guys. You know? He knew Train Kept Rolling, so good for him.
Yeah, there we go.
But that is a genesis of music.
Howlin Wolf. Like old dedicated.
You ever see footage of Howlin Wolf?
No, actually.
Oh, he's a fucking maniac. You ever see a picture of him?
Yeah.
Dude, the guy was a mean son of a bitch. But like a nice guy, but you don't want to fuck with him.
Like what?
Well, he's fucking huge.
Yeah.
I think he was like 6'6".
Like 300
He's built like a
pounds,
goddamn
too.
wrestler or a football player. He liked to fuck with Muddy Waters. Because Muddy Waters was the rock star before rock stars. He was like the first rock star.
Yeah, like the beginning of the 60s.
And he came, Howlin Wolf, well, Chess Records, started picking up all these blues guys right off the farm. And found Muddy Waters. And then, who else came that was big? I want to say Little Milton, but I don't even know if that's right.
On Chess?
On Chess. Who else was on Chess? Ella Fitzgerald?
Yeah.
Well, Chuck Berry, but that was later.
Etta James was Chess, too.
Etta James, that's who I was trying to think of. That crazy, sultry,
At
deep
last,
voice.
dude. Yeah.
But,
that was like her breakthrough single for Chess was At Last, I think.
yeah. She was a junkie, I think. She had a lot of problems.
Oh, yeah.
Most of them were.
I think that was like one of the things that led to her unhealthiness was like
Howlin Wolf, he knew he was the shit. Like he could like he had vocals like a motherfucker, and his band was like unbelievable, and he could fight too. So Muddy Waters didn't write his own songs really. A lot of them were written for him by
a white guy.
by Phil Spector. No. Who wrote for him? Oh, Willie Dixon. Willie Dixon wrote most of the songs on Chess for everybody. The dude was fucking insane.
Really?
Yeah. Big old fucking Willie Dixon. He wrote, I'm a mannish boy. Dude, I was 25. He fucking wrote that shit. He just, like, probably didn't get as much credit as he deserved. He's another one. He's fucking
I know he's always in parentheses on the albums. He's always
that big stand-up bass.
credited.
But anyway, Howlin Wolf came into the studio, and then we don't have video right now, but he did this sway. He would sit down, and he didn't even need to stand up, and he's probably the same type as the rest of the band, but he would sway, like he would look at you and he would fuck with you. But he wanted to piss off Muddy Waters, so he started flirting with the chick he was seeing. He had the big old Howlin Wolf eyes. And Muddy Waters got pissed, but he wasn't a tough guy. He's like, basically, I'm gonna fuck your bitch. While he's recording, it might have even been Train Kept Rolling, I don't know. But they're in the studio, and let's see. But actually, and then Muddy Waters wanted to get him back. I'm trying to get to this other story, but I need to like get through. So Muddy Waters stole his drummer, Howlin Wolf's drummer, and so Muddy Waters' band was playing a show at a bar, and there was a big fight, and this guy was gonna either shoot or stab the drummer, I don't know his name, and Howlin Wolf saved his life. He took a chair and smashed it over the guy's back or his head or something, knocked him out. And then the drummer was like, I owe you my life after that. So he left Muddy Waters' band to play for Howlin Wolf again. What I was going to say is Howlin Wolf was fucking huge. Like, I think he drank a lot probably. He definitely, I mean, back then you pull those black guys off the farm and you give them some fucking money and some pussy and some fame. They don't know what to do. They go crazy. They just drink themselves into oblivion. They're certainly not giving a fuck about their money. They just want to get that Cadillac, the suits, and then they're like, fuck, I'm broke. So what I want to get at is this famous story that we're going to tell again, but you might know about it, you might not, but the Rolling Stones were very much into Howlin Wolf. They didn't give a shit about anyone else, really. I mean, they did, but they're like, Howlin Wolf is the fucking dude. His name is crazy.
The London Sessions, right?
Red
Rooster.
They came. That's another song. I think he wrote that one. Maybe
Red
Rooster.
Rooster.
But they came to Chess Records in Chicago. Yeah, Chicago. And all they wanted to do was meet Howlin Wolf. It's like, these young white British dudes want to meet me. It's fucking weird. But the legend is, when they met him, he was painting a studio for work. For extra money, he was broke. But I've also heard this story, and the person painting the studio was Muddy Waters, so I'm not sure. But I think it was Howlin Wolf because they put Howlin Wolf on a show, like a variety show. It might have been in England, but Brian.
Pops or whatever?
It wasn't Top of the Pops. It was kind of like maybe like Conan O'Brien of the past. Kind of
like an American bandstand, but a European.
Like a little bit more like a not like a Tonight Show, but like a little bit more edgy kind of show. And then Brian Jones, that started the Rolling Stones, like a genius. Played bass, played guitar, played fucking everything. He's like, you gotta pay attention to this fucking dude, Howlin Wolf, because there wouldn't be any Rolling Stones or Beatles without Howlin Wolf. I think they took him to England. He was pretty old, like 50. And they put him on the show, and then there's this, like, host with a suit on, like, blah, 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 Top of the Pops, mate, blah, 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 Rolling Stones. And then, Ringo. But,
Ringo, baby!
So this dude's going on and on about Howlin Wolf and his life. Oh, Brian Jones, there he is. But Brian Jones was like cool guy, but like an asshole, but like the right way. And he's like blah blah blah, Howlin Wolf, full blues guy, and he's getting ready to play. I think he put Smokestack Lightning. I think he wrote that one too, which is a big hit for the Yardbirds. But he's rambling, like I'm rambling now, but finally Brian Jones goes, just shut up and let him play. Like, why talk about it? Here he is. And the guy's like, you're right. Howlin Wolf blows into that harmonica, dude. Fucking massive, huge guy.
Dude, every time I go back to Michigan, I listen to that Howlin Wolf sessions. So good. Like when they're like trying to tell him what to do. They're like, oh no, just let him play. And he just busts into Red Rooster. It's like, what the heck? I think it's like track 6 is so good. Every time like I drive from Detroit to go see my friends in Jackson, I'm always hitting like Chelsea area, and I always hear Red Rooster, and it just makes me feel right at home. It's so good. I love that. What do you think about the Electric Mud thing? Eric Clapton and Muddy Waters, like that Electric Mud album they did.
I don't know if I've ever heard it.
You never heard it? It's okay. I checked it out when I lived in Milwaukee, but I don't like Eric Clapton at all. It's just not it. I like War. I like that shit. That's cool, but yeah, Ginger Baker though, he wins it for me. His drumming. He moved to Africa. It's crazy. He just lives in Africa now. Like,
I heard a crazy story about him that he. I think he became like an alcoholic or something, or a drug addict.
Yeah, and then he moved to Africa.
Well, he couldn't really play anymore, but they threw him on stage. And I heard a story, and I can't confirm it, but that his drum set wasn't actually like amplified. and then there would be like a guy behind the stage, like he was lip syncing but with like drums, and there would be a guy actually playing his parts because he was so out of it.
Really?
Isn't that fucking crazy? If that's true, I don't know. It would not surprise me at all. But I'm not trying to rip Ginger Baker. He's fucking awesome. But I did hear that story.
I want to find out if that's true.
In fact, I think someone told me they were at a show that they saw it firsthand, but they could have been full of shit. I don't know.
That's wild. I'd like to find out about that.
You should look into it. I don't even know if he would admit it. He's really egocentric.
Oh yeah.
I know he got
people
super
trying to
fucked up.
interview him, and he's just like, "Fuck you!" Like, no.
What's the thing about being a drummer? I mean, if you're a singer, guitar player, whatever. I mean, being a singer is the hardest job in the band because you have to take care of your throat. If your throat's fucked up, I mean, you gotta sing night after night, and you're singing like metal or hard rock.
Yeah, like Maynard from Tool.
Oh yeah. You have to be regimented.
They would do like in the early '90s. They would do European tours, and like all like Dana, Justin, and Alex would all go in and like be in Amsterdam. Like, yeah, we're gonna go in there in the smoke shop cafes and stuff. And Maynard wouldn't go in because like even just being in that environment would fuck his shit up. Like, it's true. Like that shit is crazy. Like, yeah, sorry guys, I know we're on a European tour, but I can't go in there. Like, I gotta treat that instrument like an organ, you know?
It's like, yeah, I wanna party like a rock star, but there's not gonna be a show tomorrow if I live crazily.
Yeah.
It's like, the guitar player carrying his guitar around and banging it all over the walls the night before. Howard Stern actually brings that up a lot with singers. He's always very empathetic to singers. He's like, other guys in the band don't get it, do they? Like, you carry your instrument around, and they think you're whiny, and when you're on tour, you might as well be sick because your throat's all fucked up. Like, they don't understand. But what I was getting at is like, even if you're the singer, you play bass or guitar, you can be pretty fucked up and pull it off. The drummer is completely physical. You can't be like on heroin and like be playing Cream. It's not gonna work.
Yeah, unless you're Steve Droz from Flaming Lips. He did his pretty good.
Oh, he's a maniac.
Yeah.
Talk about a legend that's lasted a long time.
He's hanging on. I'm glad. I'm glad they exist in time. Covering Dark Side of the Moon.
I saw that one documentary with the singer, and it was a documentary about them. And the singer.
Fearless Freaks?
I think so.
Yeah.
And then they're like, what happens if Steven dies? And he had this whole plan, and I was like, if Steven dies, it's over. He's the band. Like, the singer's like what is his name? Wayne something?
Yeah, Wayne Coyne.
He's like the driving force and like probably lyrically, but Steven's the fucking engine, man. He's like the one that makes all the weird sounds.
Are You a Hypnotist? That song, dude, one of the best drum beats of all time. Like, I mean, as far as like after, you know, all the legends that everyone knows about, like, dude, those albums are amazing. Like, went from like super punky stuff all the way to like super increment like cadences and doing all that. It's ridiculous.
I just think their most underrated album is Soft Bulletin, man. The drums on that are fucking incredible. Dude,
they got surround sound for that album. Like, if you listen to that album on surround sound 5.1, it's called Soft Bulletin 5.1. Like, you listen to that shit on surround sound, and you deny that being a bad, or like you say that's a bad album, you're a fucking idiot. Because it's fucking brilliant.
I kind of got annoyed with that Yoshimi album because it completely overshadowed Soft Bulletin. I'd be like, dude, Yoshimi's alright. Like, I don't want to put it down, but it's fucking baby shit compared to
Soft Bulletin in the limelight, and it's like they should just, it should be a discography staple.
Because I had forgotten about the Flaming Lips. I was like, they're like a 90s thing or whatever. And then I saw Soft Bulletin in a store at a listening booth, and I was like, oh, Flaming Lips, they're back. This cover's like really different for them. And I listened to it, and I was like, I've never heard pop music like this before. What are they? They're playing a song on this first song.
Yeah.
And the lyrics, like, we're all human with wives and children.
Race for the prize, dude.
I guess that album's supposed to be about the atomic bomb, right?
Yeah.
Total concept album. Like, never saw that coming at all. And you think about that in conjunction with today's pop music, light years ahead. Insane. But like you said, that album sounds to me like if the Beach Boys made like their best album, because I think that's honest. Like I love the Beach Boys. I think they're very pioneering. But that's better than any Beach Boys album. I'm just gonna say that. But it sounds like the best Beach Boys album, and then Bonham showed up to play drums on it. You know what I mean?
That's a good. Oklahoma guys go to Hawaii for a few years and come back and take acid.
It's like Bonham kicked the drummer out of the seat, and he's like, "This is the way it should be done." And I'm like, "No, you're subtle, but you're playing hard as fuck. Wait a minute." And also, it's like so many. You're like rock and roll, Jimmy Page, fucking Bonham, fucking Eric Clapton, fucking John Paul Jones, fucking Stevie Wonder, whatever. But the thing is, this Steven dude isn't just a drummer. He isn't just a guitar player. He isn't just a composer. The guy is solid in all of it. He doesn't get the credit for it. Like, there was a scene in that documentary. He has a shitty little keyboard. He's coming with cool shit right off the fucking spot on that.
Playing with his dad. Going back home, playing with his dad. That's so cool. Yeah, he's been a musician his whole life. Like, his whole family does it. I mean, like, him and his dad mostly, like, hang out a lot and do it, but it's just beautiful to see that. Like, there's a lot of struggle. I mean, like, I know you don't like it, but Frusciante from the Chili Peppers, shit is crazy. Like, he goes through similar, like, addiction problems and still just rocks an instrument. Or, like, instruments with soul. I mean, Frusciante's got, like, all those analog synthesizer, like, sequencers. Like, how the fuck do you, like, a room full of 90 years of music, just all coming into this huge panel of sequencers, you know, like a crate full of records of Jimi Hendrix, from super rare Jimi Hendrix albums. It's like, you are a fucking mastermind.
Can you get another beer? Can we pause it? Alright, pausing for beer. Alright, we're back.
Hello.
We had a smoke break. I hear classic rock right now. I hear blues. We're just talking shit about the bar owner here. He's gonna have his own interview coming up, but his nickname is certainly Swift. He is the most swift motherfucker you've ever seen. This dude just he comes up to the bar and he just puts his arm down, like he does a little, like, it's kind of hard to explain without seeing it, but it's the swiftest movement. But yeah, he practices his golf swing constantly. But sometimes he'll do it like, you remember when David Letterman used to throw the pencil, and then his pencil is like his golf swing. It emphasizes his point. It'd be like something witty, you know, like that's like Liza Minnelli's Swift. Golf swing, or like, oh, that dumb blonde Swift. You know, it's kind of the way he asserts himself with this invisible golf swing. But he would be a great Halloween costume. I think maybe once you hear from him when you see him, Chris Swift, next year's Halloween costume. Just walk around in swift golf swings. But this dude can pick up the pussy. This dude has pussy around like a motherfucker.
The swiftness. Yeah.
And you know, he talks shit about me, so I don't feel bad. We're buddies. He dresses like shit. He looks like shit. But maybe he has money. I don't know what he does. He's a very witty, smart Boston, funny guy. But the dude gets pussy. He gets, like, I sell myself short. I do all right. But the way I go about it and the hoops I go through is like, it's a whole other story. I'll just say I'm not really like the pick up the chick at the bar and fuck her kind of dude. I'm more like, I'm lucky pretty much. This dude, I mean, he could walk into the bank, he's taking pussy. He is swift. Chris Swift.
Ball wizard.
Girls love him. My relationship with girls is a little different. They like me or whatever. We have a good time fucking, but I scare them a little bit, and that's my strength. They love this. He's like John Kennedy of the pussy world. Instead of kissing babies, he's kissing pussy. They love him.
Mohos.
Can do no wrong. Mohos, the moho with Mr. Swift. For sure. And hot. I mean, we're not talking some skanks. Well, sluts, but not skanks. I mean, a skank is like a stinky pussy. But you'll fuck her anyway. A slut, it's good. It's good. Well, I don't know how far I want to go with this, but I think a slut you can still have a good conversation with after you fuck her. I'm a slut, pretty much. But,
yeah, what is a slut?
A hoe you can't have a conversation with.
Does a slut turn tricks?
No.
No?
Well, for drinks. But, let's say I call a girl a slut or something, I always have to say, well, to be fair, I'm a goddamn slut. I mean,
takes one to know one.
Absolutely. Like, I'll get treated like shit just to get some pussy. I don't give a fuck. Some girl wants to buy me some tequila and suck me off and fuck me just because she hasn't got laid in a couple months. I'm not too good for that, I'll tell you that. Like, so I'll play along with their bullshit just to get to that wet spot. I mean, if they don't like condoms, fuck, even better. Even better. So, if any of you ladies are interested in dating, fucking hit me
Call
up.
us the broadcast.
Let me know. But let's get back to classic rock. Let's not get on this shit. We do have a dating show coming up.
Let's rock and roll, huh? A little bit.
It's hard to recover now. It was like Jimmy Page. She fucks all those 13-year-olds, all that shit, 16-year-olds.
Muddy Shark,
Whatever.
Frank Zappa song, you remember Muddy Shark? Oh, the
Zappa.
Zeppelin fucking girls with the dead shark, dead baby shark.
Didn't a chick fucking octopus too in the bathtub in a hotel?
The Edgewater Inn in Seattle.
That was in Seattle?
I think that's where it's at. Edgewater.
Led Zeppelin is fucking annoying. I'm just gonna say that. Nothing. Whoa. Oh my god, that was amazing. I know that you guys can't see it. So an ashtray, which is a big can, it fell off the picnic table outside onto the bench of the picnic table, onto the ground. It did not spill. It like slid, and landed perfectly. That was miraculous. Because you know it's full of a bunch of nasty fucking bugs. Or butts. A lot of butt talk, a lot of sex talk tonight. What I was going to say, Led Zeppelin annoying. Because they don't want to do anything with their stuff. Which, I kind of get. I mean, they got to be rich as fuck. And Peter Grant, I think, is dead. Like, you wouldn't have Led Zeppelin without Peter Grant. He's the one. He was the greedy one, the protector that every band needs, but usually does not have. Like, he would beat the shit out of someone if they fucked with Led Zeppelin. He would not do any, like, I don't even think they were on iTunes for long. They certainly weren't on fucking Rhapsody, I can tell you that. But for years, people have been trying to make a Led Zeppelin movie, and if you did that accurately, oh man, that'd be one hell of a fucking rock movie. You got the right actors, the right cinematography. Oh my god, if you really got into the good story. And someone started, well, I think a couple times people have started a movie about them and then they just stopped it, the band, they didn't want to do it. But they were like weird about that shit.
Really?
Other situations like that, they will not budge. They will not let people do anything with their music. Or their name, but here comes Stacy and Kay, this will be interesting. But, fuck, what was I gonna say? Led Zeppelin. They,
Peter Grant, nothing to do with nothing.
Peter Grant.
He won't let nothing happen. He won't.
He's doing so well.
He's the protector.
He's the protector.
He's keeping the vault tightly sealed.
For sure. For sure. He probably... Oh, here's what I was gonna say. They're protecting their music, but we all fucking know at this point, they didn't write most of those fucking songs. I mean, this is not an exclusive. They fucking ripped people off. I love Led Zeppelin, I don't give a fuck. But they stole probably like most of their music. I'm not gonna give a percentage.
I will.
90%? No, but
I'd say like 75%.
But there's a Howard Stern show.
I'd probably say like 40% of their shit.
No. At least 50. At least 50.
At least half their shit.
And
nah, I'd say like 40.
It's one of those things you might not want to like blame the band. You might want to blame Peter Grant, but the manager's so easy to blame on.
Jimmy Page is like heavily engineering and producing. Like he had a lot of say in even songwriting and all that.
I mean, they got sued and lost, so it's not a big secret. And all those blues guys, like, I mean, fucking Whole Lot of Love. I don't know who wrote that originally, but they did not fucking write that song, and whoever did it sued them. And it's weird because I guess they thought
like Lead Belly or something.
Maybe they thought they could get away with it, and then they actually said that they wrote the damn song. That's bullshit. That's bullshit. Like, come on. But here's what's funny. Like, it's song. Oh man, I think it's one about like it might be Misty Mountain Hop or like a Black Mountain one. But so they copy the song. I mean, fucking no.
Oh yeah, it's Black Mountain.
You can look it up. I know that's a song, but I'm trying to think of what they. I don't know. It's not the exact one, but anyway, they changed one word in the title of the song, and that's all they changed. That's fucking hilarious. But I think the song is called Black Mountain Side or something.
Yeah, it is. Black Mountain Side.
Is that their title?
That's the, yeah.
But it's an Irish song of an Irish folk singer, and it's called Black Mountain something.
You don't know?
So, we have some people joining us right now.
You gotta push the handle.
They don't know nothing about classic rock. They're scared. We're just talking about our coworkers. It's not really that important, but it's distracting. But if you get a chance, there's a maniac online. takes songs, like classic rock songs, so people like Led Zeppelin, and he fucking calls them out and plays the original. It's like, all these people are full of shit. They're getting all these royalties. And then Howard Stern had him on in like the 90s, and Howard Stern was like, fuck Led Zeppelin, they're full of shit, you know, like, why don't they just say, I mean, in my opinion, like, I mean, they supersede a lot of things, but they're really just the world's best cover band. Is really what they are. They're like the best cover band of all time. Even Stairway to Heaven they ripped off, though, like note for note. There was a band that, it was like a minor hit, it's called Stairway to Heaven. Note for note, they took it. And then this poor bastard that did Dazed and Confused, he performed it in a bar, and they just happened to be there, and Jimmy Page, I mean, he is a musical genius, but he's like a studio guy. He like knew how to play the song, remembered the lyrics, and just ripped that right off of some dude in a bar.
This is legit?
Yeah, you can look all this up. It's all, say, declassified, but it's all researched and, you know, verified, right? Clarified.
There's actually been like judicial court cases on this stuff. Wow, I did not know that.
They were sued and they lost, and they had to put the original people now on like CDs or iTunes or whatever. They have to put the original person that wrote the song and that person.
And is there like a severance Is there like a severance package that they get? Like the people who wrote the songs and they have like millions of, they like went platinum, you know? Like, is there like some payment that they receive, like their families?
They do get money,
like,
yeah. I'm not sure how it works, but yeah, probably not as much as they really should. But
yeah, that sucks.
They did. I mean,
Led Zeppelin went down a notch in my book.
They do.
I liked him because my father, he really liked him.
They will when you learn that, but they'll go back up because they're the mighty fucking Led Zeppelin. You'll forget about it and you'll be like, this song's awesome, this song's awesome, this song's awesome.
I mean, yeah, they're good.
It's one of those things.
But it sucks. I mean, like, that's 80% of the reason I don't like Elvis Presley. Like, hate me if you do. Fuck Elvis Presley. I mean, you probably like him.
That's a whole, other fucking argument. But that's a whole different thing.
It sucks, though.
Yeah, I agree. He's just as bad, if not worse, than Led Zeppelin.
I just don't like him because of that shit. It's like, you were a white boy who joined the army. Like, I don't want to hate on some shit that people really respect. Like, it's like hating on God. You're not going to get anywhere because you're just not. You know, you have millions of voices saying otherwise. But
for a time period, Jesus and Elvis were pretty fucking close as far as popularity.
I mean, John Lennon, right? He got killed because of the statement they say, but I think it has more to do with other shit than that.
Yeah, man, just like this past year or two, I fucking love John Lennon, man. And just him saying that shit back in the day is so, like, they were burning Beatle albums because of that shit.
Yeah.
That takes fucking balls.
But it's like, it's true though. It's just like Daft Punk doing Television Rules the Nation. It's the exact same statement John Lennon was. It was like, you people will stand in line and camp out for us. We're just four dudes from Liverpool playing rock music and, you know, experimenting with our heads and doing our own shit. You know, I'll sit in a bed all day and still be just as respected as, you know,
someone out there in the street.
Martha Hoople, you know. Here we are, right in the same time period, and I'm sitting in a bed saying "Bed Peace Warhead" or whatever. You know, it's like you give somebody a chance. Like, look at that.
That's part of the Beatles' strength. Is that's actually one of the first. Besides their music, I didn't know much about them, and then I had this cool music teacher. And he saw something in me. He's like, you're very quiet in class, but I can tell that you listen to a lot of records. You're just a weird guy. Like, you're probably gonna, you're already in a band. You're probably gonna do something. It's this weird thing, you know. I wasn't really doing shit back then. But I was talking about the Beatles with me one day, and when he was talking about their intelligence, they were the first like pop stars to have intelligent interviews or be witty or funny. Before that, you had like Chubby Checker, like Bill Haley, or well, Buddy Holly was intelligent, but he didn't care about that shit. The Beatles,
Dylan was pretty intelligent sometimes,
but he was a little bit.
Well,
they were about the same time.
Arrogant, kind of.
It was a different thing, though. I think.
Yeah.
Because Bob Dylan was already kind of like an edgy.
Yeah.
Beatles were in
he was really young.
Right. But definitely, he was the forerunner of being the witty.
You know who had really good interviews? Lou Reed.
I've never seen much of his interviews.
You've never? Oh,
it seems weird, but I really haven't, honestly.
Dude, he's so funny. You should.
He's an asshole, but
you
like
would
a good
love
way.
it. Out of anyone I know, besides.
I know a lot about Lou Reed, but I haven't seen very many of his interviews.
Dude, watch his interviews. They're awesome. You know, like his mom was like, do yourself a favor and study something in college while you're making this music. Dude, he went and like studied journalism and literature.
Oh, really?
And
while he had his music
in the
career?
Velvet Underground.
While he was in the Velvet Underground.
Yeah, that's like he went and studied journalism and like literature while Andy Warhol and the Factory were existing, and like introducing Patti Smith to the Velvet Underground. I mean, it's in that book, Just Kids. It's like they were doing this artsy shit at night in Hell's Kitchen, but then during the day they were art students or like English students. They were like majors of like huge academic steps and founding blocks of like what our generation's picked up from music and the power of literature and poetry and Burroughs and Bukowski. It's like all that shit. Like they were intellectual because they knew that if all else failed, they would have their intellect and their wit about them, and like that's what carried that dignified edge to their sword. Was like, we studied this shit. We went through the rhetoric of like old school professors, and we knew we're like surfing this new wave, and like to bring that all into culmination to like albums still to this day that are played at the most ridiculously unopen-minded bars. They're still playing Velvet Underground and Nico, like I'll Be Your Mirror, like that shit shows up randomly. And even at sports bars it still plays. Like these people have transcended like just an art form. They've become like a staple and a vein in our huge society, like that shit is sweet. Like Japan pressings of Loaded or the Quine tapes, is like these are like things that people are still like pressing to this day.
Did you know there's like one or two Velvet Underground albums that none of the original members are on at all? So it's like maybe Maureen Tucker. So like, well, I was gonna get into John Cale because he's a very interesting guy. Very interesting. I'm just gonna say real quick, he was from Wales, and he had some very hardcore.
Yeah, give me the history, because
musical training. Like he was set to be like a modern Philip Glass or like a John Cage.
Really?
He was set to be like in like kind of classical experimental infamy, like. And then he met Lou Reed and was like, this guy is like the best fucking songwriter I've ever met, and like his voice is weird, but it works. This guy is he knew it immediately. Like this guy is a fucking genius. And what I was gonna say was, he was like the first one to lead the band, who was like the original, and then basically he left because he didn't want to be commercial. When they Loaded is actually my favorite album, but it's probably the most commercial thing they did, like the first commercial thing they did basically, and it was it's like a country based album, but the songs in there are phenomenal. Like nothing, Sweet Nothing, Ain't Got Nothing at All.
Yeah.
I think Sweet Jane's on that album.
It is. That's the first. No, actually, the first song I think is Who Loves Rock and Roll, and then it's
Who Loves the Sun.
Yeah, that's it. Who Loves the Sun, and then it's Rock and Roll or whatever, and then it's Here Comes Your Man, and Sweet Nothing.
Lonesome Cowboy Bill about William S. Burroughs.
Yeah.
But what I was gonna say was he was the first one to leave because they got too commercial. He's like, the Velvet Underground are supposed to be slick, and like, I get it, maybe not, but I can see all sides of the coin. And I like albums by bands that are considered like uncool because they kind of sold out. But I'm like, actually, in ways, this is better. Like, I like the production or whatever. A good album's a good fucking album. Like, whatever.
So, I know you're a big Queen fan.
Yeah.
What do you think? What Queen album do you think is on that point? The verge of like,
were they?
Oh, they sold out, but like, it's still a fucking awesome album. Like, to me,
that's really hard.
It is a hard one, but
here's what I think personally.
I want to know your opinion on this because I know you have like a valid point behind it, and I want to know it because like you're a huge Queen fan. Like, I don't really like Queen. Dude, Queen jazz album, the best inside of an album I've ever seen. Like, that is the dream studio. If I could walk into that studio picture, dude, that's like Nirvana, heaven for me. Like, that capabilities, pianos, carpeting, the gong, everything, fucking awesome. But I don't know too much about Queen. You showed me all those videos and shit. I want to know.
They're very interesting.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Even if you don't like their music.
What was that one? It was in Australia or whatever, where like, he has like Freddie Mercury goes up on that little platform and like walks back and forth.
It was Wembley, wasn't it?
Wembley. That's it. Wembley's in London.
Dude, that
London.
is
Yeah.
maybe the best live concert video album of all time.
It's like, what, 2 hours, right?
It is a rock and roll fucking extravaganza. Yeah. He did 2 hours, just fucking destroyed it. I mean, Queen's story, I'm glad you switched to Queen, because we can get into some fucking shit. But, well, I mean, first of all, Queen, well, let's just say I'll have a lot of things I want to say right now about Queen, but
I'll say it, dude.
they were kind of done for. They did nothing for 4 years before they did that Wembley concert. What happened was, Live Aid came around, and they didn't want to do it. A band like Queen that gets so big and is on the radio, and then basically, see, this is what musicians don't realize. If you want to be a big pop rock star dude, you're playing to kids. You're playing to high school children is what you're doing. You're not gonna get respect. You're playing to 15-year-olds. That's what happens. So what happens is time and time again with these rock stars, people grow up and they move on, and they're like, that was cool when I was in high school, but like, I'm kind of over Another One Bites the Dust. I'm kind of over Bohemian Rhapsody. Yeah, it's cool to get drunk and stoned, but now like I have a family and like I gotta go to work. Like, I'm kind of over that. And Queen, they sustained, they changed, they evolved with the sound of what was happening. Much of like David Bowie, they kept their ear to the ground. And a lot of British bands do that because they're just pure music lovers, but they're also pure pop music lovers. Like a lot of things that people consider cheesy or like brash or like uncool, Europe and Britain is a totally different way of thinking. Like, they respect pop music. It's an art form. Writing a 3-minute pop song is an art form, and it really is. It's very difficult. People think it's like bullshit.
No, there's patterns involved.
Sit down with a guitar and write a fucking hit song. Good fucking luck, dude. It's a gift. It's very difficult. But, so they got pretty much, not forced, but like pushed into doing Live Aid. So Freddie Mercury being like, just the ambitious dude. This guy, he was burnt out, but he's like, if we're gonna do Live Aid with all these other bands, we're gonna be the fucking best. We're gonna fucking destroy these motherfuckers. And they did. They made everybody not look like shit, but like there were some very good performances at Live Aid. You had Black Sabbath come back, you had Led Zeppelin come back. Once Queen came on, I'm trying to remember what they came out with. I feel like maybe they did Bohemian Rhapsody first, but it's like Crazy Chaos.
I thought it was a thing called Love or whatever.
Maybe.
Oh, no, that was like in the middle. I remember that performance.
What the fuck did they do? They played 20 minutes, but anyway, there's a part. I feel like they played like a heavy song, and then Freddie sits down at the fucking piano, and it makes you want to fucking bawl your eyes out, and then just knowing, and you're
you know
like,
what I think it is? Another One Bites the Dust.
It might have been, and it just he's seamless. He's got the mic with like no stand. He's strutting around doing his thing.
Drinking the beers, remember? He's drinking
all
the beers
on the piano.
top of the piano.
And he's just like, he's done, hands the mic over, sits down at the piano. Dun, 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 dun. Bohemian Rhapsody, you're like, motherfuck. And then I think they ended with, it's like a 20-minute mini concert of like, this rock and roll fucking, it is rock and roll, like, and I think they end with We Will Rock You, maybe, I feel like maybe they start with We Are the Champions, I can't remember. No, I think they end with We Are the Champions.
Yeah.
The whole crowd is going fucking apeshit, like, Queen is back. Like, Live Aid was it was a charity event to raise money, and you forget about all of that. You're just like, this is all about Queen.
This is like the new Woodstock.
Queen has fucking destroyed. And then through that, they got very popular again. People were like, oh yeah, Queen, we forgot how fucking incredible they are. How fucking awesome Freddie Mercury is.
Day at the Races.
And then they released another album. This is where it gets tricky because I'm not real good with like details, and I don't know. Queen's not really a band where I really give a shit about their album to album or when it came out, but I feel like it's the album where Radio Gaga came out, and they were like, radio is horrible right now.
Radio Gaga.
I think that was the hit they had. Yeah, I think they might have played that at.
No, they did play that at Wembley.
They did play it at Wembley. I think that was the big song they had there. And people went
He's in that yellow suit, like that yellow leather suit.
That video is awesome. It's very sci-fi. They have jumpsuits on, and then it shows people clapping like they're in V for Vendetta. But that was like, Wembley was like a year or two later. He had been diagnosed with AIDS, which nobody knew what the fuck that was. He knew he was gonna die. He died like a year or two later. He's like, this is it, dude. This concert is my life. This is the fucking. It doesn't matter after this. I'm giving you everything.
Yeah, like
tonight.
said, like this will be my epitaph. Like this is it.
I think that was maybe the last concert they did. I'm not. Maybe
really.
They had a concert.
At Wembley was?
I can't. My details are fuzzy right now, but it might as well have been. I mean, it was a blowout. And he comes out the end. He's got the cape and the crown.
Yeah.
But it's like
that's We Are the Champions. They were doing that.
Right.
Yeah.
And I don't know how many people there, but I'm sure it's fucking sold out. Because we're like Queen and fucking Wembley.
Did you see that? But it was to the brim, to the gills of it. It was all the way.
Every single fucking note, man. And they did the same damn show they've been doing for fucking years. Like,
what's the guitar player's name?
Brian May.
Brian May. Remember that?
He did the solo in the middle. Yeah.
He jumps off the drums.
They had a lot of fun at that concert too because they did all those R&B covers, like the stuff that got them excited about music. They came out. I think he might have had like a tambourine, acoustic, did some Little Richard, did some this and that, and then flashed it back in. But he knew he was gonna fucking die.
Yeah.
Dude, that is, oh man, the concert. But like, the sound recording is so good, and the video is so clear and good. You're like, he's got the yellow. He keeps changing clothes. He's got the yellow leather jacket. Oh man. But see. Let's get back to what the point was. The Queen album where they sold out.
Yeah.
That's very difficult to pinpoint. And it's now that I know a lot more about them, because I actually didn't like Queen for a long time. And I don't know what changed my mind, but the song Bicycle fucking changed my mind big time. I was like, I really look at music and I'm like, whenever this song is on, people get really happy. And that means a lot. Like, I'm like, there's something to that. If you can fucking do that, like, there's something to that band. Like, so many hits, so many albums, so many years on the fucking road. But I always kind of thought of Radio Gaga as kind of their sellout song, like their sellout album, and I'm not sure what album that was on. But that's when
was it Sheer Heart Attack?
No, Sheer Heart Attack's pretty much considered their best album.
What is it?
That's like way before.
It is?
Yeah, I can't even think what's on.
So wait, see, like I said, I don't know too much about, like, where does Day at the Races fall in? Okay, do you remember the Queen album where it was like a drawing on the front cover and it was like a robot coming down? Like, it was from a perspective from down below. There was like a robot coming in to grab like humans, and then on the inside it was like humans being grabbed by these robots. That seemed like a really different twist for Queen that I remember. This was like Day at the Races. It was like that royal, like, family crest type front cover with lions, and it was like all in cursive. And then Jazz was like that crazy psychedelic, like illusionary circle type thing. And then Sheer Heart Attack was like all of them laying down. Like,
I feel like Sheer Heart Attack, in my opinion, like, maybe their best album, but like best album cover, and it's called Sheer Heart Attack. That's a very powerful name for an album, and then just their faces. Like, something about that album, like that's rock and roll. That's 70s fucking rock and roll. Like bam, bam, bam. Like
it was kind of like Is There Anyone Out There? The Pink Floyd, where it was just all the foreheads in the line. It's kind of sweet.
Maybe like Zeppelin with all those symbols. I think a couple they had all their symbols on the back of the record. Or like,
yeah, Zeppelin 4 was like that, and even Song Remains the Same.
Or Let It Be, the Beatles, just their faces on the cover. Actually, I want to say something about the Beatles, but I don't want to get off track from Queen just yet.
Let It Bleed?
Yeah, Let It Be.
Let It Be.
Their last album. But the funny thing about Queen is they confuse critics. Like the one documentary I watched, there was a guy, he might have been a critic in like Rolling Stone. He's like, I didn't get Queen back in the day. Like, it's 4 guys in the band's called Queen. That's already confusing. Don't get it. And then it's a rock band with an album called Jazz. Don't get it. So I just love how they just like, it's like I get it, but if you think about it, it makes sense. You're like, why would a rock band call an album Jazz? It's kind of fucking weird. But the Beatles, have you ever seen like, I think it was their first album. It was like when they were in Hamburg. I think it was Meet the Beatles, or maybe the one before that one. But I think they were living in Germany, and most of it's actually a great fucking album. Like most of it's covers. I think they do Little Richard. But if you have a good stereo and you listen to that album on vinyl, it's a fucking crazy party rock and roll record.
Hearing them talk and in between.
But they look like fucking Kraftwerk on the damn cover. They're wearing these black suits, It's all dark. Their faces
Just a
are
little
like
bowl cut.
the bowl. I don't even know if they had the bowl cuts yet. They probably did, but their faces are super pale. They look like a fucking 70s techno band. They look scary. It's not like meet the fan-friendly teenage girls. It's like meet some fucking gothic dark motherfuckers, man. It's like, is this fucking Death by June, or is this Kraftwerk, or is this fucking Psychic TV? Is this Big Face? I don't know, man. Someone pointed that out once, and I was like, you're right. That is a dark-looking album. Like, meet the Beatles. Like, who are they? Who are they? Like, are they gonna tie me up? Like, they look dangerous. But they were on all that speed too, so people don't realize. Just gotta make sure things are going. Johnny Paycheck's on. This is an interesting thing about the Beatles that I think a lot of people don't know is so when they were like kind of starting out playing like shitty bars, they didn't have any money, they didn't eat that much, and they back in the day bands would they play like all day and all night. They play for like 8 hours.
Yeah, they have like weekend festivals. I mean, that's how Pink Floyd got big too. It's like,
but even like back before that, when they were playing shitty bars, they would sleep in cots in the back of the bar, and then they would come out and play all these covers, and that's actually how they got good. They played James Brown, or they played Little Richard, or Chuck Berry, or whatever. But they would do a lot of speed. Everything was fast. And also when you're hungry, you can take speed and it kills your appetite.
Helter Skelter.
They were all about speed. And then they met Bob Dylan. Now this is just one of those fucking stories, I don't know if it's true, but Bob Dylan was like, you guys should smoke weed.
Calm your nerves a little.
You guys need to fucking calm down. And it's one of those magical meetings. And
Colorado Kool-Aid.
he's like, your lyrics are like bullshit. What are you fucking singing about? You're not singing about anything. Oh, she loves you and all. Like,
You can drive my car.
these fucking broads. What the hell are you talking about? Why don't you birds? You realize you're the Beatles. You can write about whatever the fuck you want. And then they're like, we really respect you, like with your lyrics. And he's like, yeah, look what I'm writing. And they're like, we never thought of that before. And they're stoned, and they're like,
Then
wow.
here comes Rubber Soul.
Here comes Rubber Soul. And then they say, you know what, Bob? You don't need to do this boring acoustic guitar shit. Why don't you fucking use an electric guitar and fucking rock?
Telecaster, brother.
And he's like, you know what? I have never thought of that. Everything
Take it
changes.
easy.
And then you end up with the Eagles, which is fucking bad news, but
I fucking hate the Eagles.
it's the way it goes, man.
You get the fuck out of my taxi cab, motherfucker.
I actually, though, watched I watched that movie about the germs. I think it's called What We Do in Secret. Yeah, it was really good movie, really interesting. I think since we've been doing these shows, like, I've been more and more interested in punk, like the idea, and like I feel like the world, it's gone back to like before punk. It's gotten very stale, very unoriginal, very uninteresting, and punk is just like, damn, like I'm gonna make my hair crazy, I'm gonna dress crazy, I'm gonna do whatever the fuck I want. I'm gonna fucking just play this guitar, this crazy riff. I'm gonna cut my fucking chest. I don't give a fuck. I'm gonna fuck whoever I want. Guys and girls saying this. They're like, hippies thought they were free, but this is beyond that. Like, this is anarchy. I feel like the world could use a little bit of that. I think things got real.
Yeah, we need to definitely stir the pot.
I mean, even bands that claim to be punk now, they're not doing jack shit. like pop punk, that should not even exist. But I was watching that stuff, and I mean, that's what happened. Like, rock and roll like grew up, and these people were like, it ain't supposed to grow up. It's supposed to be fucking crazy. Like, if you're not making music that pisses off people's parents, you need to fucking quit.
Yeah, if I wanted to hear about rules and regulations, I'd move back home. You know?
It was a reaction. It was also, I mean, you and I like prog rock, but that got way out of control. And they're like, all this like 20-minute, like like all this keyboard, and they're like, what happened to like rock and roll? You know, like, let's put on some leather and get crazy for like 30 minutes instead of 25 minutes. But the Eagles and Jackson Brown comes up a lot. They're like, and James Taylor, they're just like,
you gotta have Swift about Taylor, dude. You gotta get him to tell the story about Boston, dude. Tell him to fuck up. Dude.
What's interesting is that the Germs, so this is actually interesting on many levels of what we've been talking about. But I saw an interview, it's like, it was called like 20 Years of Punk. Different interviews of people that were there in the interview, the drummer from the Germs. And in the movie, they make him out to look like an idiot. And like kind of like the, oh man, I'm in the fucking crazy punk band. But he seemed very intelligent, very like with it. Maybe he grew up or whatever. Well, what they're saying in the movie, and like again, I don't know what the reality is, but when the Germs' first album came out, critics wrote that it was the best album since The Doors' LA Woman.
Really?
It came out like 77, 76.
Yeah.
That's like 5-6 years. And the Germs were like, oh, we hate The Doors, it's bullshit. That's a strong statement. And but this drummer, he's like describing, you heard this like 7-inch the Germs put out in LA. This movie's all about LA punk, which is, I think, more interesting than New York punk. New York punk's a little bit like darker and like more famous, like Patti Smith, Talking Heads, fucking Ramones, but you're like, who cares? We're sick of that bullshit. Like, it's cool, but like in LA, I think it's way more interesting. They were just way more experimental. Like, you listen to Patti Smith now and the Ramones, and like Blondie. I'm not Talking Heads is a different animal, but like Blondie, straight ahead, rock and roll, leather. Like, it's not really like back then. It was probably crazy, but now you're like, not really that crazy. Germs is still fucking insane, noisy madness.
What they were doing was like taking the awesome experimentations of rock music and using it in punk. It was like they were using like phasing, like Sonic Reducer, dude.
The Dead Boys were the exception.
Yeah,
they were like, dangerous.
Let them have it.
They were dangerous.
Let them have it.
But then you got the Dead Kennedys, dude. And I was talking to Jeremy about it today. They tried to put Jello Biafra in jail for his fucking music. That is dangerous. That is rock and roll. That is punk. No one in New York was in danger of going to jail.
It was like modern day witch trial.
It really was.
You know?
Zipper Gore. You guys think Al Gore's liberal? Fuck no, that's bullshit. Zipper. Well, I'm gonna drink this beer to her turpentine because she was an alcoholic, so she drank, calling her out a fucker. But I'm like, why didn't they? What? I had this train of thought today. I'm like, they went after Jello Biafra or whatever. He loved it. Why didn't they go after Gigi Allen? These lyrics like legalize murder. I mean, that's really dangerous stuff.
Going on like network TV talking about raping girls and shit.
But then I realized it's safer to go after Jello Biafra because he's not going to do anything other than defend himself. If you go after Gigi Allen, he's going to burn down your house on Christmas dinner.
Yeah, and
you know what I mean? He's going to fuck you up. You can give a fuck. He's not a very good target.
like Jello Biafra, it was like it's hard to even, like, I guess, quote unquote embarrass him, but it was like G.G. Allen would be the same thing no matter what. It's like Jello Biafra could hold down a composure and be like a different side of the coin, where G.G. Allen was like, you're getting the same side of the coin every flip. It's like, there's no changing that. He's set. Like Jello Biafra, like that convincing. It's like, yeah, you're gonna sue me and make millions of dollars. It was like Frank Zappa was like, yeah, you can censor me and take my albums, but no, I have the final say because I'm the creator of this shit. So you can fuck off. And if you don't want to put my shit on large labels, then fuck you. I'll put it on my own because I have enough good people. But G.G. Allen was like, I don't give a fuck if I get produced one even more second, you know? I'm gonna fucking die this way. I'm gonna live this way. Fuck you, you know. Which is awesome. I fucking respect
one of those
that.
Documentaries. The band's, the band. I don't even know what it stands for, but TSOL. If you saw the letters with like you would be like, oh yeah, you're like exploited, or the germs that are around that time. Crass, but they were talking about how like those bands they were selling out theaters,
The Statue of Liberty,
venues for there'd be 5,000 people there, and they'd be like, "Did you have any like record company attention?" They're like, "No." I'm like, "No, really? Like no," and we didn't want it. They're like, "You wouldn't have like a lot of bands did sign with those labels, but." Like, right away they're gonna want us to change. They're gonna be like, oh, you're out of tune. Like, okay, fuck you, deal's over. Play what we want. We didn't know what the fuck we were doing. There's something cool about that, and they're still going. And like the guy, I don't really like TSOL, their music, but like the singer, I really respect him because even to this day, when they do another album, a different album, he changes his name because he doesn't want notoriety. That's not what it's about. But an interesting follow-up with the Dead Kennedys is that a few years ago, I'm not sure when, the other members of Dead Kennedys sued Jello Biafra because usually, like, he wasn't giving them. They weren't getting enough money that they thought they should have gotten. And he claims that he wrote all his songs, like on the guitar, lyrics, everything. But who really knows? He could be full of shit. They could be full of shit. But basically, they wanted to be cut loose from him because all these companies wanted to use Dead Kennedy's songs to advertise their products, like Levi's, Dockers, and he's like, Dockers wanted to use Holiday in Cambodia to sell their shoes. He's like, that sounds fucking grotesque. And the band wanted to do it, and he's like, yeah, I saw a little excerpt from the spoken word he's talking about it, and he's like, I didn't think that's what the Dead Kennedys was about. Like, I certainly didn't think these guys were what they wanted to do, and now, I think this year and the year two, they have a different singer. He's just like, kind of looks like Jello Biafra, and people are just like, not having it. Isn't that bullshit? And he's fine with touring, but he's like, doesn't want to sell out. He's like, I will never sell a Dead Kennedy song to a commercial. We're like, that's fucking integrity. But the rest of them, like, I don't want to make a blanket statement, but it seems like they just wanted to fucking sell out. It's like, that's...
Maybe not in the beginning, but eventually it was...
Now, though.
Yeah.
Now.
That's disgusting.
He's like, I'm getting bit in the ass. He basically was like, you know, I don't know if I can do an impression of his voice. His voice is kind of annoying, but he's like, corporate America came to my door. And like, what do you mean? You know,
he does
like,
kind of do that, too. I watched a Primus documentary, and he was on there, and just like that. Corporate America.
was like, I got a letter from lawyers, and they said Dead Kennedys wanted to sue me. And it's like, Dead Kennedys suing someone? That's ridiculous. You know, like, we had to go through all this hell. But what happened was, I don't know it's minute details, but he said they threw money at him so they could just take that name and just do whatever they want. So he was telling the crowd, like, if you see something with Dead Kennedy's name on it, like shoes or something, like, don't buy it. And they were like, yeah, fuck that bullshit. They totally sold out the whole fucking thing.
That's fucked.
But his story is very interesting. Like, he was like a hippie dude in like the mid-70s, and he had long hair. And then he was just like really bored with music. It's like the Carpenters going on, and like all this like soft rock. And then he's just like, whatever happened to fucking Black Sabbath? And like a lot of those bands, they pretty much just listen to Black Sabbath or Alice Cooper, because there was like the darkest, heaviest shit. But they're like, you can only listen to Alice Cooper so much,
dude.
And then
Welcome to My Neighbor came out.
There was the Sex Pistols, and everyone went apeshit. They're like, oh, thank God. And they're like, you don't even have to be good. So then he's like, I don't have any musical talent, but I wrote a bunch of songs, these noisy, dark songs, and he's like, I cut my hair, and I put it in a bag, and I stapled it to the door, and like blasted Sex Pistols, and like, it's like, it can't really register now, but back then, that was like a big fucking deal. That was like very dangerous. Or people had like a mohawk, or people were getting beat up. But it was like what they're saying, like, people being punk was a commitment.
Oh yeah.
You got like fucked with on a daily basis.
Yeah, like, you don't go home and crawl into your teddy bear pajamas.
They're like, it's not like a weekend Friday night thing. It's 7 days a week, and it's not exactly fun. And it's like a lot of these people were just like losers. They're outcasts, fucking, they found something.
Yep, got a little angry and started writing how they felt. Dude.
You want to stop here? Alright.
I gotta pee. Take a break for station identification.